peeps, hope you're doing well. So it's been a little while since you've seen my mush, right? I suppose it's a special request. But I don't think the video is going to be like that throughout, because I'm sat in my car by the side of a road just having a cigarette. Now, what I did want to address is obviously recently I've had a bunch of comments left from another commenter, also known as mysmiling blackheart. Now, I'll be honest, the problem with reading stuff off of comments is you don't know the context and you don't know what sort of feeling and emotion are put behind it. So my reaction to that was somewhat of like, I'm just being trolled, right? So I'm like, fuck it. I thought, you know what, you're going to troll me, man, you're going to take the piss, then fuck it. So I responded accordingly. Then I thought about it. You know, because I hadn't given it a great deal of thought. I mean, there are a few things that have been said here and there, and I still don't really know as to why they were mentioned. But I'm going to go through the comments again. So it's kind of a repetition, I suppose, but this time I'm not being so much of a dick about myself. You know, I'm not going under the assumption that I'm just being trolled by some random. So from the top, here's what it reads. Now, I've done it already, but I'm not going to be, like I say, I'm not going to be taking the defensive on this one. Thank you for your response. You're welcome, sweetheart. I assure you I'm not a troll. Alright, well in this one I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, alright? So, I might have come across as being a bit of a dick. Now the reason for that is, it just seemed a little bit uncanny that one of my videos initially upset you. There was something that I'd said and you'd obviously said, oh yeah, the problem's you've got some internal issue going on and all this, that and the third, right? I'm fine. Trust me. And then it kind of went from there. So with that, it comes down to the next bit. I never said I had a PhD, nor do you need a PhD to have qualifications in areas of mental health. No, well that's true, it depends on the area and everything else. I don't practice, I'm not a psychologist yet, I put my children first. Alright, fair enough. This wasn't the only video of yours I have watched, so my comment was not solely relating to that actual video. Again, you'd have to be a bit more precise, to be fair. You know, like I said, I've done 500 videos in 5 years, give or take. So, sussing out which one you mean is a bit like a needle in a haystack, if you'll excuse the expression. Let's carry on. Also, I'm terribly sorry for an innocent typo, and sorry you felt the need to make assumptions on my intelligence from that one word. But I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway with that one. I'm sorry I took the piss out of you. Alright? And I mean that. I'm not just saying it. Because at the end of the day, the problem with being a content creator, especially within the sort of manosphere where you get trolls like the likes of Carly Ellison, if you're new to sort of MGTOW and that kind of a thing, you may or may not have heard of her. Her account is still going. I haven't heard anything from about maybe 2 years. So maybe she got bored and moved on and found a different source or something. Maybe she found her true calling in life or something like that. Anyway, I'll take it you also don't have a PhD in these matters and study Google for information. Now again, I was kind of like, I was looking at your comments from a perspective of how someone with MPD would do it. They're just sort of like, nah, glaze over, not really listening, not really pay attention, which is what made me think you were trolling me more than anything. But like I say, I'm trying to meet you halfway on this one. I get plenty wrong, but none of us make the right choices all the time, do we? No, we don't. It goes against human nature. Well, I don't quite know what you mean by that, even now. But whatever. Actually not a fan of Marilyn Monroe, funnily enough. But then this is what I mean, you say something like that, and it's It's the way you go from a sentence like that to where it says here, I've lost myself, shit. However, you do not seem to enjoy anyone having an opinion unless it matches yours. But that's not strictly true. You see, if you're referring to the comments that you left, they weren't comments, were they? They were just you spouting out shit in the hope that something stuck. Now, I've said something in one of my videos which obviously has really pissed you off, and I'd like to know what it is. I mean, I don't really talk about anyone in specific. I know later on you just say, oh yeah, you know, you pick holes in people. It's like, no, I don't. I pick holes in people's personalities, not from an individual point of view, in particular from narcissistic personality disorder. You know, something that I'm subjected to on a daily basis, unfortunately. Different faces, different places, but nonetheless it's there. And it's not that I go around, like I say, pointing at people, oh yeah, you're narcissistic, this, that and the third. It's not about that. It's just recognising the traits. But again, just because someone has traits doesn't necessarily mean they are narcissistic. So it is kind of a difficult one. I've got flying bugs on me now, look at that. Anyhow, where was I? I'm lost. Yeah, now, regarding people having opinions that don't match mine, it's like, no, people are allowed to have opinions. That's why I say in the end of the videos, you know, if you've got an opinion or any advice, say it, speak it. I'm about freedom of speech. I want to know what, you know, people that watch my channel, what they think. Am I wrong? Is there a different alternative? Am I missing something? Tell me. You know, it's not about, yeah, you have to agree with me. So no, you're allowed not to. Right. The internet is a platform for all people, and even those with PhDs post videos for self-help advice and other support. Yeah, that's a true fact as well. But do you see what I mean? It's like, your comments do seem a bit all over the place. And I'm thinking maybe you're sat there and you're listening, and then you write a bunch of stuff, and then you listen some more and you write some more. So to me, it just comes across as you're a bit all over the... I don't mean to be insulting by saying that. I guess there's a kind of a bit of a lack of consistency. Right, now the next one is to do with the childhood traumas. And there it says, I do, however, want to say that you make good points on BPD, as someone who has it and has been in NPD relationships, and I feel for you for that one as well, both romantically and as friendships. I do agree with you on many points. It's not a nice disorder to manage. Sorry, just checking my surroundings, you know it is. On a day in daily life. However, we aren't all bad. Again, I was sort of under the impression that you were making out that I was saying that people with NPD were bad. Not at all. You know, it's like I've always said, even with narcissism itself, it's on a spectrum. So, although a lot of the sort of tactics might be similar, they are still individual people and they're not all as bad as one another. Like I say, you can understand why I would suspect that I'm being trolled. Alright, just switching everything off, wind up with a flat battery, because that won't go well. So, now we get darkness, right? Can I ask, in previous videos you showed your face. How comes you don't anymore when you're picking holes in people, your own experiences, etc.? Well, in this video I've kind of done the opposite, haven't I? Now I know I've had to switch the light out because I don't want to get a flat battery. I'm not exactly in the mood to walk home either, if you know what I mean. But no, it's not about picking holes in people. It's not about harassing, and you know, with that you haven't pointed out at which point I was being sexist or coming up with derogatory remarks. You know, I don't know, it just seems like you're throwing shit in the hope that it sticks. At least that's what it came across in your original comment. Anywho, I wonder if you're not as confident as you make out, or you don't actually believe your own voice. Now by that I can only assume the reference that I make to the sort of Migto philosophy of not wanting to engage in marriage, cohabitation and children with having children with a partner. You see, the reality is, you've said it before, you've said it yourself, you know, we've all made bad decisions, we've made bad choices, we've gotten with the wrong people at times. Now, alright, now this is a bit far out there, but imagine if I'd have had one kid with each of the partners that I'd been involved with, other than being flat broke. You know, I'd still be in that scenario, wouldn't I? And I'd have brought innocent life into it. And yeah, sure, you don't look at these things initially, like, a lot of the time you get caught up in the moment. But then there's the other side. I would argue for the more malevolent side of women. Women that deliberately go out and get themselves pregnant for the sake of maybe wanting a baby, or maybe wanting the attention that a baby brings, or maybe wanting the cash and prizes that it all brings. Because these are all relative. You know, there are women out there that just do get pregnant because they say they like the feeling of being pregnant, but I think it's probably the attention. But I could be wrong, right? And I'm not judging. I'm just looking at it from a guy's perspective. Whereas if a guy was to get with someone like that, and they have several kids with them, then, you know, if she does wake up that one day with the ump and decide, fuck it, I'm not happy, you know, he's going to lose everything he's worked towards with that person. Which is why a lot of guys within men going their own way have kind of decided to swear off relationships, because it's like, it seems to be a pattern. You know, that's the whole kind of part of the whole red pill thing, I suppose. But if you were to say to me, well, what about your past? What about your girlfriends? Well, I've been married, I've been divorced, only the once. I've been engaged, you know, and it kind of is what it is, isn't it? You know, they didn't work out. I mean, I was lucky with the engagement. That could have got a whole different route, and then I could have been really pissed off. But fortunately for me, that's not how it happened, and maybe I got a lucky break or something. And then there's been other relationships when I've referred to the, at the time, girlfriend as being wifey material, mother material, that sort of a thing, because, you know, some of the girls that I've been with, I do sort of look at in that aspect and, you know, sort of question, would they make a good wife? Do they make a good partner? And then sometimes, yeah, the thought does crop up, you know, do I want kids? Well, it's a scary prospect, given the way the world has panned out by today. You know, it's like, if you become complacent, like a lot of guys often do in relationships, and it's not that they do it on purpose, it just happens. So when that happens and the woman gets the ump and decides, fuck it, I'm not happy, and she gets the cash and prizes of the house, the kid, the car, half the possessions, child support, alimony, all that sort of a thing, they are the only beneficiary of, in that aspect, marriage and kids. So it does put me off. And then when I look at the state of the world today, I think, would I really want to bring a life into it? Well, that's debatable. You know, I mean, I don't want to go down the political path on this one, though it is something that is highly influential in the lives of the masses. I mean, we've got kids being taught Marxism, and they think it's a good thing. It's like, you know, when has communism ever worked? It's killed tens of millions of people over the years, and it's just like they just glaze over that, like it's, oh, they just haven't done it right. It's like, come on, seriously? And again, schooling being indoctrination camps, pretty much. You know, how can you justify that? I mean, at that point, do I have to ask myself if I have to find, you know, in that situation, do I have to find someone that's going to be a stay-at-home mum that is happy to teach the kids? You know? And again, with that, you know, I would argue that a lot of people do get married far too quickly. You know, they don't spend enough time getting to know each other as people. And even with that, it's like, I mean, I've known of one marriage that's lasted a long time, and it's because they didn't live together. You know, bit close to home, if you know what I mean. And then, yeah, it's just a whole load of issues, isn't it? And how do you go about navigating that? I mean, realistically, do I want to stay away from relationships? No, I don't. Like I said before, I enjoy being in relationships. I enjoy what they bring. You could argue maybe I like the rose-tinted glasses part of it, you know. But it's like, you got to be there through the good and the bad. But sometimes you might find yourself in a situation whereas you might respond in a certain way to a bad situation that happens. And then, and I'm not talking about like infidelity or promiscuity or something like that. I'm just like, I don't know, just a random situation where you have an argument or a disagreement, difference of opinion. And again, if you look at the whole Brexit thing and Trump in America and everything, that's caused divorces and everything else. But where do you go with that one? So it's a bit of a clusterfuck, really. So anyway, I'll tell you what. I apologise if I was somewhat harsh and brash in my other video. Genuinely, I thought you were trolling me, and then it's like, no, I'm not a troll. And then I was just reading it as passive aggressive. Not because I wanted to see it as being passive aggressive, it's just that's how it sort of came across to me. Again, there's no tone, there's no emotion, so you know, what you feel might be something, might not be. And then you weren't there to defend yourself either, sort of thing, or to say otherwise, so it's a difficult scenario. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this one up. So, to those of you, thanks for listening, much appreciated. If you've got any thoughts, comments or opinions, even if they do go against anything that I say, feel free to jot them down as always. Until the next one, stay cool, stay free, and peace out.